Hi everyone, welcome back for another whiskey review. Today looking at this Redbreast single pot still whiskey from Ireland, aged for a very long, 21 years old. And this is, I hate using the term, but probably my most favorite Irish whiskey at the moment after these guys here. If you followed my journey of 2020, that's my whiskey of the year for my most favorite whiskey that I tried, the Teeling 14-year-old single cask, finished in a New Zealand Pinot Noir cask. But that's a freak of nature single cask. But this has to be my most favorite, readily available, commercially released Irish whiskey. It's just stuff of dreams. 21 years is a very long time. And if you drink Irish whiskey quite regularly, you will see that there is a distinct lack of Irish whiskey expressions of this age because, as you may or may not be aware, the Irish whiskey industry went through some very tough times in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, carrying into 90s, and a bit into the 2000s, where demand for their whiskey or the export quantities were not that great. So any number of the distilleries were either closing down or merging with the other ones to try and survive this downturn. And there's just a distinct lack of long age Irish whiskey casks, obviously. Fast forward to now, Irish whiskey industry is absolutely booming. Redbreast, there's some other ones as well, like Teeling and Jameson's. But there's also any number of other smaller brands as well, big or small, that are absolutely booming, which makes the outlook of the whiskey going forward really good. Hopefully they will have the foresight and the patience to age the whiskey for a very long time. But I would like to think something like the Redbreast 21-year-old is very, very precious because compared to Scottish whiskey industry, the Irish whiskey industry's 20, 21-year-old or 25-year-old cask are just very far and very few. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. So 21 long years in the cask, and they use first fill ex-bourbon and ex-oloroso sherry cask. So it's a sherry dram, and obviously they don't say in what ratio they use for the final release, but bottled at 46% ABV. Now, 46% ABV, we all understand, is non-chill filtered, and I do believe it is natural color. This one comes in this very beautiful, attractive box, which is sort of adds to the occasion. Well, time to find out what's it like on the nose first. Now, I've obviously tried quite a bit of it. We opened it for our tasting. Might have been for St. Patrick's 2020. Actually, there's a story there, and I'll tell it in a minute. But it has traveled up to here now, if you can't sort of there. We opened this bottle for an Irish whiskey tasting just before St. Patrick's Day 2020, then we were blissfully still living in COVID-free New Zealand, and New Zealand's brand ambassador for some of the Irish whiskies, Megan, came down to the city where I live in Hamilton. We did our Irish whiskey tasting together, and that was just before literally shit hit the fan, because we did that probably end of February or early March. And very, very quickly, everything literally went into lockdown, where we weren't allowed to leave the house. And I remember drinking this whiskey during the tasting and falling deeply in love with it. Gorgeous, beautiful color to it. Not very, very deep and dark, which sort of alludes to maybe more of the ex-bourbon and some ex-sherry casks being used. But very, very oily. It's got long legs on it. Look at that. Just gorgeous. So good. The other day, I reviewed the Glencairn 21-year-old, and at the time, the sweetness, the rich sweetness of it, I was trying to put my finger on it. What whiskey was it reminding me of? And it was actually, in fact, Redbreast, because both of them have obviously having that significant first fill ex-bourbon cask influence, had just a bouquet of tropical fruits on the nose, and this one definitely delivers on that. There's just absolutely mesmerizing sweetness on the nose. It's hypnotic. There's ripe peaches, just a hint of banana. Gorgeous. And I mean, I do this quite often. Obviously, not everyone has the patience to nose the whiskey endlessly before they take their first sip, and I haven't sipped it yet. But if you hold the whiskey glass maybe about an inch off your nose, the sweet spot is in the middle. That's where the sweeter notes or towards the top of the glass are coming. And this one is just so good. There's ripe mango. What's interesting is obviously they are using some first fill Oloroso sherry barrels, but I don't really get any of the spice on the nose they normally get out of the Oloroso sherry cask. But I guess being a triple distilled whiskey, it does make it a lot more lighter and fruitier spirit to begin with, and just that's too good. Do yourself a service, and if you can't get a bottle because it is quite expensive, retails for 350 Kiwi dollars, 300 Kiwi dollars, and that's about 150, 175 pounds. Definitely worth getting a dram in a whiskey bar, and a good whiskey bar should have a bottle of this open. So good. Passion fruit. Wow, so good. Very satisfying on the nose. All right, time to find out what's it like on the palate. There's actually spice on the palate, but very gentle, and that immense richness and sweetness of the whiskey is just very hard to explain or demonstrate with in the way of this medium of a video, but it's mouth-wateringly good. So good. So rich, very oily on the palate as well, very full, which is very hard to come by in Irish whiskies because they tend to be, like I said before, triple distilled and also towards the younger age. But this being in the oak for 21 long years has a rich, waxy, oily character. Wow. I think it's just important to say it's crime against whiskey community that there's no abundance of long age Irish whiskey out there, because it's just a crime. But I think the history is being rewritten, and long may boom the Irish whiskey industry and give us some long age beauties like this, because they are very good at it. This is just so good. Again, I'm just going back to nosing. So good. And you don't need water in here. The water will interfere with the sweetness agenda, I think. It's just damn perfect at 46% non-chill filtered. Really good. Very, very nice. I think if you ever are lucky enough to be granted one of those wishes by your significant other, someone you love or someone that might love you, a friend, a boss, or anyone literally wants to grant you a wish of getting you a bottle at any price that you may wish, I would say put this in your top 3 list, or at least the top 5. It's that good. So good. And I just want to say it again, such a shame that the world was not respecting and supporting the Irish whiskey industry in those days, and they had to go through those troubles to come to now. But I guess, you know, that desperation to grow and to maintain the quality create something really phenomenal like this. This is just remarkable. Hands down, the number's not coming to head now, probably one of the best whiskies I've ever tried. It'd be in the top 10, definitely. So good. Well, I think that's enough about this particular whiskey for tonight. If you are liking the content, please like, share, and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you in the very near future with another whiskey review. See you later.